Do you like watching movies?
To be honest, it's one of my favorite activities. I love watching movies. I love watching movies because I really like to follow narratives that are interesting, that have great plot twists. I also like comedic movies that don't have an interesting narrative, but that are just funny.
What is your favorite movie?
There is a movie that talks about the history of one guy. He's a human being that lived for 16,000 years and has experienced everything that has happened to humanity. This movie is my favorite because it talks about human evolution.
How often do you watch movies?
I will say that I watch 3 movies per week. When I was a kid, my friends and I would watch a movie every week. We would gather together in my home and we would watch the latest movie on Sunday because it was a free day. But nowadays, when I have internet access, I watch movies more often since they are easily accessible.
What was the last movie you watched?
The last movie I watched was a movie about a space exploration. A group of humans went out into the Milky Way in order to discover if there was light out there. They ended up finding life, but it wasn't intelligent. I will not tell you what happened next because I don't want to spoil the movie if you want to watch it.
What's your favorite genre of movies?
Dramas are my favorite movies because I really like to see how humans interact with each other when there is a complex situation. I especially like dramas that make you think, that expand your view on things, and it make you a question about what you would do if you found yourself in a tight spot.
You will have 60 seconds to prepare, and then you will speak for between 60 to 120 seconds. Start speaking now.
The last time I was stuck outside in the bad weather was when I went cycling. I decided to cycle from one town to another. It was a distance of 20 kilometers. And when I reached that city, I went back to my town. Halfway on my journey, rain started. So for 10 kilometers, rain poured on me. Everybody looked at me in amazement. The reason why they looked at me like this was because the weather forecast was saying that there was going to be rain, and they were surprised that I decided to go out when it was clearly going to rain. I didn't mind the rain. I didn't care at all about it, but people watching me is something that made me feel really uncomfortable. When I arrived home, my family members said that I will definitely get sick, that I might even get pneumonia, but luckily they were wrong. I didn't feel bad at all the next day. And to be honest, I'm really grateful about that. I think I didn't get sick because there was no wind and rain wasn't that cold, so it didn't affect my health. But it did happen in the past. I did get sick after I spent 1 hour in the rain in a line waiting to buy the latest smartphone.
Do you think that the weather affects people's mood?
Yes, I think it does affect people's mood. The way it affects them is that it influences their nervous system, so to speak. I think I speak for everybody when I say that we feel a bit down when we see clouds up in the sky. Their mood is really lifted when we see the sky is clear and the sun that is shining. I do know a few people that like the rain, but nobody likes the clouds. They always impact our mood in a bad way.
What do you think about the current issues with the climate change?
I think that we should pay more attention to it. I think that our weather is changing year by year. For example, in my country, every summer is hotter. The summer this year has seen record high temperatures. This has been the case with the summer before. It was the record high summer up until this year. And this is gonna continue until it becomes really difficult to go outside.
If the majority of the people prefer the warmth, why do we still have a lot of people who live in the cold parts of the globe?
I think that even though some people might want to move from their cold city or their cold country for a while to a warmer place, that cold country will always be home for them. They will not feel comfortable in the warmth if they were not born in that warm place. So that's why I think we will still have a lot of people who live in the colder parts of the world.
Besides the way people feel, do you think that the weather also impacts people's behavior in some way?
Yes, I think it does. I mean, when it's hotter, you don't want to do anything. You just want to lay in a bed and cool yourself off in any way. But when the temperature is more moderate, people are willing to move about and get stuff done. I think that the real cold weather affects us in the same way hot weather does. We try to lay beneath the sheets to be warm. We try to warm ourselves as best as we can.
Do you think that it will be challenging for humans to live on Earth in the future?
Yes, I think it will be challenging because the weather is definitely changing. The climate change is making the situation with our weather quite difficult. Like I said, it's gonna become really difficult to go outside and get stuff done. And this is gonna create a lot of challenges for us in the future. I think if we only invent robots that are resistant to heat, which will be doing our bidding outside, I think that only then things will be okay.